Hello everybody. So I'm reading a chapter again, and in this famous personalities I'm reading about Saddam Hussein, the extinguished radiant ray of the Arab race. So let us actually read about him. All right. Iraq is a land on which man has made strides from a barbarous stage to that of the civilized one. Situated in West Asia, it is watered by the sacred rivers of Tigris and Euphrates. This land is also the source of great Assyrian, Babylonian, Akkadian civilizations. This land is described as the most civilized in the ancient regions of the world and has been home to the Arab race for the last 100 years. The Iraqi layers of the earth possess the most valuable resources of the abundant oil. Due to this reason, Iraq has attracted many nations and gained global significance. The falcon eye of an aggressive superpower fell on this territory, which became the cause for a conflict which finally took away the life of Iraq's dauntless leader Saddam Hussein. Now, Saddam was born on 28th of April 1937 in Al-Awza, on the outskirts of the Iraqi town Tikrit. When Saddam was very young, his father left family and his mother remarried. His stepfather often used to torture Saddam and his mother indiscriminately. Unable to bear the torture, Saddam went to his maternal uncle Khairullah Tulfa, was brought up by him. He was not introduced to formal education until he was 10 years old, and only after moving in with his uncle. He went to Baghdad for higher studies. However, he was always more curious about politics and less interested in his studies. From World War I up to the year 1932, Iraq was a British colony. In Iraq, the Ba'ath Party that wished to bring all the Arabs into a single nation was strong. Saddam Hussein's maternal uncle was an active member of Ba'ath Party. Taking him as an inspiration, Saddam joined the party as a member in 1957. In 1959, he made an assassination attempt against General Qasim, the then Prime Minister, and as the attempt was unsuccessful, Saddam fled to Syria, fearing deterrent punishment at the hands of the Iraqi police. He spent 3 months in Syria and later went to Egypt. He was able to get asylum in those countries easily as they were Arab countries. In Egypt, he enrolled in a law college where he was continuing his legal studies in Egypt. The Ba'ath Party came to power in Iraq, and Saddam stopped his studies in Egypt and reached Iraq in 1963. He married his uncle's daughter, Nazda Tulfa. Due to some queer political turns, the Ba'ath Party lost its power only after 9 months. Saddam was arrested and put into jail in 1964. During the 18 months of incarcerated term, the young Saddam was inhumanly tortured by the police. In 1966, he escaped from the jail, after which he relentlessly worked for the development of the Ba'ath Party for 2 years. In 1968, he became the deputy prime minister of the party. He gained much importance in the party in the 70s and became the president of Iraq on 16th July 1979. Now, the preceding 10 years were very important in the political career of Saddam. In 1968, when the Ba'ath Party came to power, Saddam was deputy handled important portfolios such as the police, defense and intelligence. Though ruthless and stern activities, he became very powerful in Iraqi politics. It is said that he had eliminated many political rivals as well as the prominent people who at that time were supposedly antagonistic to him and his government. He encouraged attacks on Kurds. After 1975, he became the de facto ruler of Iraq as the then president fell sick, and after 1979, he became the full-time president of Iraq. After 1968, the Arab Ba'ath Socialist Party, which came to power, adopted a progressive and revolutionary method to develop Iraq. In 1972, it nationalized all the Western oil companies in Iraq, became to play a key role in the OPEC. It carved a special position for the oil-producing Arab countries by pooling them into separate groups. In 1974, an act was passed to giving limited autonomy to Kurds. Saddam's 25 years of presidency were marked by social and economic reforms that led to a quick development in almost all spheres of activity. But all those developmental reforms were not known to the outside world. Saddam meticulously linked agriculture and industrialization and increased production. Due to the inequitable land distribution to the poor classes of the society, the poverty in the country was eliminated. He also took appropriate measures to increase the literacy rate, which led to enormous growth of educated people. Further, he abolished Islamic law and established the modern judicial system. 1980, in collaboration with the French government, he established a uranium refinery plant. At the same time, he tactfully continued good relation with America and was able to get financial aid. But his relations with the neighboring countries, Iran, had been completely disputed since 1980. In 1979, momentous changes occurred in Iran which proved quite detrimental to Iraq. A religious revolution took place in Iran in which the Ayatollah Khomeini routed Iran for Reza Pahlavi. Fearing that the developments in the Iran would engulf him, Saddam attacked Iran. The Muslim, Arabic, and Persian traditional forces fueled the war, but before the change, Khomeini spent a lot of time in Iraq itself. The then American President Ronald Reagan granted a $40 million aid to Iraq to fight out Iran. All the financial aid rendered by the President of America was almost spent in the disastrous war. The war, which ran for 10 years, proved to be calamitous to both the nations. It was estimated that 1 million people died in the war. At the same time, there was a widespread news that the Kurds city of Halabja was targeted for biological and chemical warfare by the Saddam, which killed some 5,000 innocent people. The Persian Gulf, and otherwise called the Arab Gulf by Arabs, and surrounded by the Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates, Iraq and Iran. If one observer observes the map of the region, one finds that the Kuwait is blocking the way of Iraq to reach the sea. Iran always considered Kuwait as a stumbling block for its progress. Some argue that historically Kuwait was a part of Iraq, and Iraq was claiming Kuwait as its historically as a part of Iraq. Iraq also alleged that the Western oil companies in Kuwait were gambling Iraqi oil clandestinely through this silent oil well specifically designed for this. It also alleged that the Kuwait was digging for oil beyond its quota and was selling oil to other countries at whatever price it wanted. During all these causes, Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait and occupied it. Immediately, America and England jumped into the fray and got Iraqi forces evacuated from Kuwait. Succumbing to the US pressure, UNO imposed restrictions on Iraq in 1991. Since in 1990, economic position of Iraq had been deteriorating fast. In spite of his utter defeat in the Gulf, Saddam was able to rule Iraq as a president for a decade, which is a matter of mystery in the whole world history. Saddam's will, power, and resolution must have been acquired by the reading the life of the Joseph Stalin and the Soviet Union. He had his army officials trained in the East European countries and used their expert services in maintaining law and order in the country. But gradually, Saddam began to face tough times as the UNO sanctions started showing their adverse results. From 1980, Iraq began to face troubles internally. Literacy rate fell and the agricultural output was completely destroyed. Iraqi people were almost facing conditions of drought. On the request of Saddam, the UNO started oil for food plan by which Iraq could export oil to any countries in lieu of the food grains. With this, Iraq heaved a sigh of relief. On the charges that Iraq was manufacturing nuclear weapons of mass destruction, the UNO sent a mission to verify the facts. Of course, such evidence was not found, but the Western powers were bent upon ruining Iraq. Some international events continued to make the plight of Iraq worse. The formation of the Taliban domination government in Afghanistan and the terrorist attacks on the America on 11th of September 2001 added fuels to the wrath of America, who became strongly determined to repress widespread terrorist activities mushrooming in the Middle East. Though there was no evidence that Saddam had helped the Taliban regime, Western forces under the leadership of America invaded Iraq on 20 March 2003. Their objective was to exterminate Saddam, who refused to become a stooge in the hands of the Western powers. As a result of the 50 lakh people lost their homes and became refugees. America lost 5,000 soldiers and another 30,000 were wounded. Saddam, who was committed to rationally use their lawful resources for the strengthening of Iraq and for the unity and welfare of Arabs, had a very bitter experience. There was a rapid development during the last days of the Saddam Hussein. He was captured from the farmhouse and in Darwa near Tikrit and was handed over to the interim Iraqi government to proceed with the trial for his alleged crimes against humanity. Almost a mock trial was held for the 3 years in the name of the gathering information and conducting a trial. Finally, the tribunals of the judges declared him guilty and he was sentenced to death by hanging. Earlier to that, Saddam had pleaded his own case despite of his wish to be shot. He was hanged on 30th of December 2006. After his death, his last letter addressed to the nation was released by his lawyers. In that letter, he declared himself as a quite honest and wished his country to prosper.